Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good on your side of the internet. I'm wearing the sunglasses again, here's migraines again. But anyway, a lot of you guys have been asking me comments on a certain video which I did nearly a year ago, all about how to build a Portal Spirit Box enhancer. Whereas what to use, you know, where do you get the certain pedals and so on from, amplifier, all that kind of thing, battery pack, which some things I didn't explain very well back then, but in this one I'm going to explain all the questions which you've had. I'll even put a few questions in as well, hopefully, in this video, and show you a bit more of an up-to-date 2020 version on how you build exactly one of these and what you need. I want to do a little disclaimer at the very start. I would just want to tell you, you do not need one of these. It's not essential. You don't have to use it. Even a lot of the time, I just use it just as a speaker. That's what it is. It's a speaker. But I want to make a very important point. This is your Spirit Box. This is your speaker. Spirit Box, speaker. Because this isn't a Spirit Box itself. This is only where the sound comes out of. This is your main tool. This is where your audio source is. This is your audio source. Goes down the aux cable, comes out here, just like the same as when you play a guitar, and it comes out the amplifier. Same as when you play through a Bluetooth speaker through your phone, comes out through the speaker. You know, exactly the same thing. Same as when you use a microphone, comes out through the speaker. You know, so it's not exactly too hard to understand, but anyway, if you do want to have the instructions on how to build one of these, then I'm going to take you through that in this video with a much more updated version, and I'm going to show you on screen where you can get everything, how much it roughly costs, and how to put this thing together. Okay, you got the cat just over here in the background, just sleeping. But anyway, I'm just going to take you through this again. But this is going to be a much more up-to-date version on this thing. Like I said, you do not need this. It's not essential. You can even just get the amplifier itself. Just use that as a speaker on its own. You know, very powerful speaker just on its own. But anyway, you have the main amplifier, which is a BLACKSTAR Fly 3. It's the only amplifier I use just because I love how small, compact they are. Works as a very good speaker just on its own. So you got that, you got the custom handle which I put on top of there, which is only stuck down with circle glue, but because of how weighty it is, I'm surprised it's able to hold all this weight. You've got your main part, which is the aux cable, which attaches into your, which plugs into your audio source, like me, PSP7 right there, and it travels down here, the sound, and goes into one of these. It's a 3.5mm audio jack adapter, so that's on screen now, and I'll put all the links down below to show you where you can get all this. So let's take that out for now. Then you're going to come around here. I can't actually take these off because I've actually stuck them down with circle glue, so they're not going to come off unless I really yank them off, but then I'm going to have to go all the trouble gluing it back on. This is my noise reduction pedal, which is kind of a little bit of a spin-off. It's like a little bit of a child of the Decimator 2, which is a really good one. If you want to use that, especially for some really noisy Spirit Boxes like a Jensen, which are really noisy, which have a lot of static, which can really help, but you don't have to overdo it with the noise reduction. Pitch, might take that off because I never really use that. Go all the way around to the other side. You've got the reverb here, which is a reverb spring, which is one of my favorite ones. Still coming to grips with it. which has different ones. You have room, hall, and so on. Up here, you've got the level up there, how much you want to let through. You've got ones for the different varying levels of effects. You've got obviously the knob here, the on and off. You've got the lights around here, if I just turn these on for you. So these particular ones, again, they're not essential. They're just for decoration, same as the crystal. I do believe in crystal energy, but it's purely decorational. Same as like the color and everything. So you got white, you got red, you got green, and blue. And I've got around the back is a little remote that attaches to the batteries for the lights. Getting them through the actual speaker itself was a nightmare, a lot of soaring and so on. But the main bit I want to come to is the battery pack. Now the one I use, it's the more rechargeable battery pack power supply, which powers all the cables. So you got the actual speaker itself. It powers itself because it's got 6 AA batteries in the back. So if I switch this on, if I switch on this little button here, you'll see the little green light pop up. And you see the blue light that's on here, on and off. And then come around here, same thing again, on and off. And that is pretty much it. Now you can get, usually when you order this, most of the time if you search it on eBay, it comes with the cables anyway, but it also comes with its own thing, so you can recharge the battery. This usually lasts for, my best guess, for around 4 hours or so, but I doubt anybody's going to be using it for 4 hours straight. For like a 4 hour long session, I doubt it. But then obviously you got the amplifier by itself. Pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes, you know, if you maybe like if you can't afford this, you know, because these can get quite expensive sometimes, but you do have another option, which I showed you in that video from a while back, which you can actually plug it into your wall. You can have it just plugged into your wall, and you can use it that way if you want to. You know, if you can't afford this, that's another option for you. But if you want it to be more portable, then this is the one that I use. Definitely my favorite battery pack, I think. But also if you want to get the more expensive one, which you see on a lot of portals, this one, which you can actually like connect like USB lights and that kind of thing. But again, the lights, crystal, just decorational. I don't know if they actually do anything, so I jam on there just because I like them. But also, you know, with one of these, you can get creative as you want. You know, put some stickers on them, do some spray painting effects, you know, just anything. Do what you like, you know, make it unique to you. Put some color on it, like paint the little knobs on here, like the handles, the buttons, you know, get creative. You can basically do what you want. The decoration doesn't do anything to the actual sound or anything like that. But again, I must stress this again. This is your spirit box. This is your speaker. This is the spirit box. This is not. Okay? This is only where the sound comes out of. Now you got these, which can obviously manipulate the sound and the way it sounds. You got this which can cancel out a lot of static noise, which can be very helpful sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. Pitch, like I said, I'll probably take that off because it doesn't really do anything. Reverb. Now when you're using reverb, you don't have to turn it up all the way up here, because sometimes it can sound, sometimes if you get spirit replies, it can sound like Bane from Batman's inside the spirit box enhancer. So with like this, you know, I call it a spirit box enhancer. I feel it's a more appropriate name for it, you know, because this is your spirit box, this is your main tool, and if you want to use this just with the amplifier on its own, you can. That's no problem. You don't need the pedals, you don't need all that. But sometimes I feel with just a tiny bit of noise reduction, with just a little bit of reverb, a little goes a long way. You know, you don't have to have it cranked up so it sounds like, so when the replies come through, it sounds like a car zooming past, you know, or it sounds like very robotic, you know, because I don't believe that's necessary. You know, you're looking for clarity, and most of the time the audio that comes out of this is pretty clear anyway. So, you know, a little goes a long way. You know, like I said, it's not essential, but if you are going to build one, then I'm just going to show you how you can. So everything that I've shown you on the screen, like from where it comes from, so you can build as close to this as possible, or you can make your own. You can experiment with different noise reductions if maybe some parts are a bit too expensive. You can try out different reverbs if you wish, try out even different amplifiers. You know, you find what works for you. You don't have to do this exact setup. You can get as creative as you want. If you want to use, don't go too cheap with amplifiers, because sometimes the sound can come out of them which can be really quite crap, you know, which is not what you want. You want it to be nice and loud. But also, I think on top of this amplifier, if I can show you, now, I've taken one of the buttons off because, well, I'm doing something else with it. I'm going to stick another crystal on there, just purely for looks. Again, I love crystals. But if you, like, you got the gain up here, you've got the volume there, you got the equalizer, which it doesn't really do much. You got the delay if you want to use delay, but you don't have to use delay. I don't really feel like delay is necessary. It more creates some echo, which some people prefer echo with any Spirit Replies audio that comes through, because it can be a bit helpful, you know, when it kind of extends those replies out and you can hear a lot more kind of when it reverberates out and you can kind of hear it. But, you know, for me, I only use a tiny bit of reverb. You know, you don't have to, like, I don't believe you have to drown it out, you know, just a little goes a long way. And that is basically it. So it's a bit more up to date, obviously showing you the battery pack. I'll put all the links in the description. Again, if I've forgotten and I haven't done that, I'm really sorry, I'm terrible with that. But I've managed to do all the links in my notes on my iPhone, which I will definitely put in here. But if for some reason I haven't, please comment and say, can I have this? Okay. And I'll show you where to get the lights if you want as well, if you want that. And I'll link you to everything which is on here, like the cables and so on. Like, I usually use like 12-inch cables, just because I believe if they're a little bit longer, sometimes it can't stretch around properly and they can get quite stretched, and sometimes they can get broken. So definitely get 12-inch cables if you can. But if you can't, you know, you can usually wrangle around 6-inch cables. But then if you're using 6-inch ones, you end up having to put this right to the very back, because they don't stretch very far, which is a shame. But, you know, you have to make the most of what you got. So it's quite cheap, quite affordable, depending on what parts you get. The first one which I did, which it basically shows you like the bare basics, sort of, I was trying to build it as cheap as possible to show you what you can do and show you what you can do with it. And most of the time you can get these second-hand as well, which can be just as good. But be careful when you get second-hand things, second-hand stuff, because sometimes I've had occasions where I've got a second-hand BLACKSTAR and it's not worked at all, or it sounds rubbish because someone's mucked around with it. And that happens sometimes. So if you can afford to go brand new, then go brand new. They usually range from around £60 to £70. You know, if you don't want to spend money on a ZT, which is fine. But also, you don't have to get this. You can use other amplifiers if you wish. You know, you got to find what works for you. But I just find the BLACKSTAR works for me. I love BLACKSTAR. These pedals work for me. So that is basically it. That's the main accumulation of this video. I hope you could take away something from it. And again, if you have any questions, then please pop the questions down below. And I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. So thanks very much, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.